Not that long ago, just a couple weeks ago, there was all this news going around about Jada Pinkett Smith. Is she with Will Smith? Is she not Will Smith? Turns out they had been broken up for 7 years. All of it, of course, in service to what Hollywood is always in service to, money. Because she had a brand new memoir coming out and she wanted to stoke the flames of intrigue to get people all excited for this book. The problem is, ladies and gentlemen, people just aren't that interested.
Well, I mean, people wanted to read the headlines on Twitter and talk about the headlines. That doesn't necessarily mean they're willing to spend their money to read your drivel in full.
I watched a stand-up. I have no idea who this was. Somebody might have sent this to me last night. He's like, Jada Pinkett Smith. He's like, I have never Googled Jada Pinkett Smith in my entire life. I don't think anyone has ever Googled Jada Pinkett Smith
who has
in their entire
interest
life.
in her outside of her connection to Will Smith.
He goes, so why the hell do I know so much about her?
Because she can't stop blabbing and trauma dumping to the world about her horrible marriage.
Well, the problem here, ladies and gentlemen, is her book is no longer even in the top 50 books in print right now.
Maybe one of the mistakes she made is going on such an extensive press tour with all these video interviews where she was trying to make it more and more punchy and salacious every time. And I mean, you couldn't scroll through the timeline without another Jada Pinkett Smith says ... and it's just some more insane thing that she said about Will and how the failure of their marriage is his fault and degrading him as a man and emasculating him. And I don't know if anyone is really interested in that. And then on the other hand, Britney Spears has this memoir that is finally like breaking a silence that she's had for like a decade about her personal life.
Her and Justin
People are
Timberlake
genuinely
is more
interested in it. And even then, Britney isn't doing interviews about it. She's just letting it speak for itself. She's not doing any press for it. And then there's a lot of interesting stuff that the public isn't going to know about from the memoir because the only headlines that are going to come out are the ones related to other celebrities. So they're talking about Justin Timberlake, obviously. They're talking about Christina Aguilera and all these other people she knew.
Yeah. So it says the 52-year-old actress released the book on October 17th, and it managed to nab the number 3 spot on Amazon's charts for the week of October 22nd, which lists the top 20 most sold and most read books of the week. She finished just behind Britney Spears' even buzzier memoir, The Woman in Me, and David Grann's Killers of the Flower Mood, which of course is being propelled right now because of the release of the movie. But on Amazon's main bestsellers list, Worthy plummeted to just to number 81 as of Tuesday.
Yeah. I actually was talking to my hairdresser about this. Well, he brought it up because he was like, what is going on with Jada Pinkett Smith in her marriage? It's just insane because she wants to be the alpha male. And I was like, you're absolutely right. She wants to be the alpha in her relationship and have control of everything and set the terms of everything. And Will just do anything seemingly to appease her. It doesn't matter. He said, I'm always going to be her friend. I'm always going to stand by her. He's like a friend-zoned husband. What's more pathetic than that? Getting friend-zoned by your own wife.
And I mean, I still think it has a lot to do with his upbringing and the fact that he's kind of holding on to the idea that he can keep that family together no matter what.
What does it have to do with his upbringing?
That he had a rough childhood, and he always said that he dreamed of having the perfect family, and like he's
Did Jada?
I don't know if she's has that.
Clearly,
same wish,
something went wrong along the way.
She doesn't have that same wish.
I mean, what were her reasons for marrying Will Smith if she seems to not really even like him?
Well, she didn't seem to want to marry him as
like she acts like she was coerced into it, and I guess is it true that she conceived Jaden before they were married?
I don't know.
And maybe like back in the day, that would have been.
They were married for like what 17 years or something like that. So
he's obviously older than that. So I mean, maybe back in that time, even though it wasn't actually that long ago, there would have been some social pressure to marry after having a kid. Yeah. There's
also like, look, he was a big deal at the time, so there was a lot of status to be gained.
She was not.
Him. Not on his level.
Not nearly the
no,
same.
not even close. He was the biggest actor in the world at that time.
Like, who or where would she be in life had she not married him? Would any of us have even heard of her?
I would have heard of her, but I wouldn't. Like, okay, so for instance, there were years where I knew who she was and did not know that she would been married to Will Smith.
I also recently saw a post that said Kanye was able to find another Kim, but Kim wasn't able to find another Kanye.
Maybe she's not looking.
You can learn lessons from this. And it's like, well, I mean, that really just makes Kanye seem like he's still latching on and obsessed and not over his wife, and that Kim doesn't care to find another Kanye in her life.
She's probably, I mean, to be honest, she probably doesn't, because I don't think she really cares about ending up with anybody
but herself and maybe her kids.
Yep. But if you look at what's going on with Britney Spears right now, it says, according to her at least, her words, it is the highest selling celebrity memoir in history in just the first day of its release. Now that sounds like BS to me. I don't know for sure, but it sounds like
the
press.
Jeanette McCurdy one had a lot of attention at the time.
It did not have this level of
but
attention.
not that level. Yeah.
It says in an Instagram post on Tuesday, the same day Woman in Me was released, she took a moment to boast about the book's sales, saying that it was that she was able to release all this stuff on her terms at last. And according to her, the highest selling celebrity memoir in history on its first day on the shelves. And she says, and it's only day number 1. Yeah, I saw. I was at the store the other day and I saw like the section where this book was almost empty. So people are, there's a $20 one here from Nate. Says, I think Brett is 100% correct in this. I see Will as a victim entirely. I think shaming him through this is a good example of why men don't seek help. I understand he keeps letting her walk on him, but I think he's a victim. At the end of the day, it's still his job to figure it out. And how many times can you go through this?
It's your family. It's your marriage. Act or continue being passive. Choose your fate wisely. Yeah. You know? And he's chosen his fate.
Be careful who you marry, right? Be careful who you marry.
There's
a $20 one here from Ryan the Eating Warrior. Says, can't help but feel bad for Will Smith. I understand they want to have a good family and stay together, but at some point you got to cut your losses. Take it from a divorced guy with a cheating ex-wife. His kids are grown as well. I feel more than anything, I feel bad for the kids who were forced to look at this relationship as if it was some type of normal human interaction, which will then inform all of their relationships going forward.
Yeah, they have no male or female role model because their mom is acting like the man in the house. Yep. She's wearing the pants in the relationship, and their father is getting walked all over.
Yeah, like I don't know if I would call Will Smith a victim. I would call him. No, I would call him somebody who's being. Who could pull himself out of this if he wanted to, but
is just worn down
and has made his value judgments about what matters. Look, also the other thing to take into account in all of these situations is stories like this are deeply personal, have a lot to do with things that we'll never know all of the information on. So all the speculation in the world won't actually paint you an accurate picture of what's going on.
Jada is not an Amber Heard.
No.
I think you can pretty easily distinguish a Jada from an Amber Heard because you can see that Amber Heard uses this this persona that's like this abused, lost, helpless waif, but then she turns on you and turns into the witch, and she's aggressive and she yells and she hits and stuff like this. Jada is just cold. Yeah. Jada has like you look into her eyes and you don't see compassion in her eyes. She can't even fake that. Nope. Amber Heard is a good fake. Jada just doesn't seem to be able to pretend to have feelings at all. Jada completely has worn down Will over the years, and Amber Heard is more explosive.
And it might actually be true that the reason Britney Spears' book would do better is that like she just seems like a warmer, more interesting person to read about, who's flawed and had a lot of awful things happen to her, but that's a more enticing story than I am an evil woman, hear me roar, buy my book.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you feel better about giving money to Britney Spears than you do about giving money to Jada Pinkett.
Because everyone is thinking, wow, where was Britney all these years? What was she doing all these years? They were curious about her. No one was thinking about Jada.
Yeah, it's a scary thing to think about, that there are. I wonder how many women in the world actually look at a Jada Pinkett Smith and are like, I'm gonna model my home life after that.
Does she have
fans?
I
have no idea.
That's just such a bizarre idea to me.
It's crazy because they do technically. I like, if you go to any of these even the most unliked celebrity, if you go to their Instagram pages, there's comments in there from people who are like, I can't wait to buy your book.
There's always somebody.
Yeah,
I guess.
like there's always
somebody to buy your book out there, no matter who you are.
Though just not as many as Britney Spears, right?
Yeah. I mean, Britney's memoir might not even be majority written by her.
Yeah. I'm still weirded out by the fact that they were like celebrating the fact that her manager was like pushing her to finish it, when so much of the book was about her being pushed to do things she didn't want to do. Like they're like, they pushed her to do it.
Let's look into this manager guy.
Well, they said, I guess they're best friends. So like, if that's true, I'll take you at your word. But the whole point is like, the plenty of parts of that book were them talking about. Plenty of the stuff in that book was talking about she was being forced to do things by her dad that she really didn't want to do,
and the co-conservators
and all that stuff. So yeah, it's not.
No one's ever gonna tell Britney what to do again.
No. Thank you guys. Dark Opt.
It just sounds like Ian getting tortured. It just sounds like Ian in extreme pain.
Somebody says Jada never shit on the bed. She hired someone else to do it. That's even scarier. There's a $20 one here from Nate. Says, I disagree, Mary. I think you're reducing abuse to requiring a physical element. I think Jada is awful and exploiting a man who wants to hold his family together, like Brett said.
I believe that she is awful, and yes, exploiting Will's mental weakness against him. She's clearly the mentally stronger person in that relationship.
I guess in a way, then yes.
I'm just saying we're not there.
It does make him. If we take all of that as fact, and we assume that we pretend like we knew everything that happened behind the scenes, and we took all of that as fact, then yes, that would make Will Smith a victim. But
also, like Johnny Depp made claims against Amber Heard that she was abusive. Yeah. Will Smith has never done that.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be like the craziest if like she's literally so good at controlling him that he can't even bring himself to make those claims because he's so emotionally tied to her?
Well, and we'll see if he does eventually.
But the other point I make is,
imagine if Johnny Depp and Amber Heard had kids.
No. So
that would have made the situation so much worse.
The idea that, like, look, yes, I do believe that you could consider Will Smith a victim here, but at the end of the day, you still have to be the one who pulls yourself out. He has to be the one who pulls himself out of it. And
I would say that for all women in those situations as well. Like, that you always have a say in the way that people treat you. You always have the ability to set those terms in your relationships.
I don't know. I have a harder time with these types of stories because there's so much. Like, no matter how many stories come out, you could read.
What did you think of Tyrese Gibson's ex-wife? She said that she regrets their divorce and that her friends influenced her into initiating their divorce.
That's a common story we hear nowadays.
I mean, it's a common story that we know happens. I don't think it's common for us to hear someone admit it out loud to themselves or others that they made the wrong decision, because it's easier to just tell yourself that it was the other person's fault or that you had no choice, you were backed into a corner, and deny that that was your full choice.
I mean, I don't know who I was. Somebody was making a video about this recently, saying that like a large percent of the women who get divorced, it's because their friends egg them on to do it.
Probably a factor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And female jealousy or whatever is probably a factor in the way that those friends act around each other.
Yeah.
So Samantha Lee said she was emotionally intoxicated and that she failed to seek counsel from any pro-marriage friends at the time that she
because likely she was upset and she was seeking validation from people whose opinions reinforced what she already believed.
Yeah.
She didn't want to hear the opposite of that.
This is why I say there's such a broken idea of female friendship these days, because it's just celebrating everything that your female friend does, or else you're not a girl's girl.
Yeah.
Whereas if you actually love and care about someone and they're going down the wrong path, they're making some kind of mistake or oversight, you better call it out. And if they reject you as a friend for it, then you at least have the peace of mind at the end of the day that you said the truth to them when no one else would.
Yeah.
That concept of female friendship, or just friendship in general, is so lost now, because you're just supposed to clap like a seal for everything your friends do. And especially for women, this is the case.
Likely could be elements of jealousy there too, if the
Did they want to swoop in and grab Tyrese from her? Is that what they wanted?
He's in the middle of suing Home Depot. He might not have the extra
He's
income.
busy, man.
He's busy. He's got stuff to
in
do.
multiple legal battles now.
He's got to get all this stuff figured out. I will say, it is difficult for me personally to lay down any type of like strong, as hard as it is for me to lay down strong opinions on most of this stuff in general, it's even harder on stories like this because so much of it is interpersonal, and every single thing that you see revealed to the public, whether it's from Jada Pinkett Smith, whether it's from Britney Spears, whether it's from poor Tyrese Gibson's wife, who I don't even know the name of.
Samantha Lee.
She's just Tyrese Gibson's wife.
All right,
But
we'll just call her that.
the point is that you're going to get cherry-picked information from both sides about what actually happened in these situations. We're never going to be privy to the whole story, which makes it very hard for me to take a strong stance one way or the other on whether any of these people are good guys.
Yeah.
I can say pretty confidently that Jada Pinkett Smith isn't a good person. But other than that, I can't really make a
safe
strong
guess.
statement otherwise, because you don't really know.
That's
All
why
of
I
this
like
stuff is interpersonal relationships are messy and they're not easy to figure out.
the subreddit "Am I the A-hole" is literally just a bunch of people justifying to themselves why they were a-holes, because you're not going to truthfully tell your side of the story.
The Fit Nerd says
You're not a reliable narrator.
The Fit Nerd says Tyrese Gibson is suing my employer. Yes, if you work for Home Depot, he's suing your employer.
Yes.
Because they did a racism on him.
He's personally attacking you.
Yes. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.